Welcome. This is Yoga for Cancer, and I'm Rebecca, and we were just talking about what a beautiful day it is here in Atlanta. The sun is shining, it's in the low 60s, which is perfect, and it's a great day to get outside, so I hope everyone will have the chance to do that after class. And for today's class, we definitely will need a strap or scarf or like tie from a robe, something that you can use like that, a bolster or cushions or rolled up blankets and blocks. So please have those items handy and we'll get started seated today. So go ahead and find your seat.
I'm gonna go get my things, Rebecca.
Okay.
Strap and thing.
Great.
I'll be right back.
And then join us in progress. Yes, so my recommendation for this class, for any yoga class, is to have those are sort of the basic props. If you have a yoga mat, if you have a couple of blankets or towels, some pillows, and a strap, something to use as a strap. Blocks if you have them, of course, and take your seat and take a moment to settle, leaving behind the activities of your morning thus far and leaving what's coming next in the future, and allow yourself to be very present in this moment with your body and breath. Take a moment to notice your sensory environment. What is happening in your space? I had the windows open. I had to close them because it's a little noisy outside. So notice the sounds in your space beyond the sound of my voice. Can you begin to discern the sounds that are close by versus the sounds that are a little bit further away? And maybe you're noticing the sound of your own breath, which becomes our anchor for meditation. So allow your eyes to close, pardon me, or take a soft gaze. Allow your hands to rest in your lap. And with each exhale, allow yourself to sit more firmly, more groundedly into the supports beneath you. Maybe it's your cushion or chair. I have a meditation stool. As you inhale, allow the breath to help you sit a little bit taller in your seat, reaching the crown of your head towards the sky. Exhaling and sinking into the support beneath you. Inhaling and becoming more spacious, taller, more open. Let's stay with this breath for a few more repetitions. And then begin to shift into a belly breath. It might be helpful to bring your hands to your low belly. Think about relaxing, releasing the shoulders, the neck and jaw, the upper chest. And let the breath drop using the diaphragm muscle to push down, creating that sensation of breath in your belly, filling the belly and releasing and letting the breath flow up and out. There are many breathing muscles, but the diaphragm is the primary breathing muscle, and it sits under your rib cage in a dome shape. As you inhale, if you're breathing from the diaphragm, it presses down. And that creates a vacuum that draws the air into your lungs. That pressure down creates that sensation of the belly filling. Softening and relaxing the upper body, because there are breathing muscles up here in the neck, in the shoulders, even in the ribs. We'll focus right now on the diaphragm. Let's take 5 breaths. And after the 5th breath, relax into your natural breathing rhythm. So our belly breath, our diaphragmatic breath, that movement of the diaphragm is the primary pump for the lymphatic system. And so if we spend all of our time in this sort of emergency breath, up here, then we're losing all of that good movement in the body that moves the lymph through our body, removing waste. So coming back to diaphragmatic breathing, whenever you can settle for a moment and feel that shift. So we're going to move into a sequence using our strap. So I'm going to move back so you can see me a little more. And I'm going to take hold of my strap. So for a strap, if you don't have a yoga strap, you can use a long scarf or the belt of a robe, even a tie. Does anybody have ties anymore? I don't know. But you could use one. So go ahead and take your strap and unwind it. If you have one like me that has a metal buckle, go ahead and hold the buckle in one of your hands. And then let the strap be sliding gently through your thumb and forefinger of the other hand. We're going to inhale and take the strap up overhead. And I want it to be nice and loose. You see, I'm not gripping. I'm just sort of holding it. Yes.
Are you sitting on a chair or on the floor?
I'm on a cushion on the floor.
All right, I can't see.
But you could be on a chair. Whatever the bottom half doesn't matter so much in this. But sitting up nice and tall so that you can be supported. So we're raising our arms up and overhead. And then gently release and lower the arms down. So that's the first option. Inhale, raise the arms up, open out, and begin to slowly see if you can move your hands behind you. Now, I'm letting the strap slide through this hand, right? I'm holding the buckle. I'm letting the strap slide to get as wide as I need to be able to bring my arms back and down. And then inhale up, probably have to choke in a little more on the strap, and then release down. Okay, so that's option 2. And then option 3, inhale up, exhale back, and down. Now that may be too much for you, so please take this where you need to be. Inhale back up, and exhale down. We'll do this 2 more times, and again, please work in the place that is giving you a sense of comfort and opening in the shoulders and the upper chest. Inhale back up and exhale down, and we'll do it 1 more time. And this is good, of course, for opening up in the chest. Go ahead and release your block or your strap and shake out your hands. For anyone who has any scar tissue in this area. You know that it can get really constricting. So we want to work gently, gently, gently to open up through this area. So please work in a place that feels good, maybe with a little bit of that challenge to the stretch, right? But nothing that induces any pain. And if you have had surgery recently, or if you still have anything in your body, maybe back off. Shake out your arms. We're going to do one more strap motion. So go ahead and grab the strap once again. Actually, we'll do two more. Inhale and draw the strap overhead. Now we're going to pull with the right hand so that the left hand comes up overhead and the right hand is out to the side. So you may stay here, or you may go ahead and release the arm back. Inhale to center and release the arm forward. So the top arm is the anchor in this position. And we'll just do a little bit of stretch up and back. This may work better if you have dysfunction in one arm, you have better opportunity to get the movement here. Let's switch sides. Dropping back to get the stretch. Releasing forward. Coming through center, dropping back, opening up. Releasing forward. And last time, stretch out long. Inhale up overhead and release. And again, my hands are hurting me today. So holding on to the strap can be a little bit challenging. So do what you need to do to release and let go. We have one more strap bit to try. So when you're ready, grabbing hold, inhale up. I'm going to wrap it for this one because it'll give me a little more support for this hand. So inhale, sitting up nice and tall again, on a stool, on a bolster, wherever you're sitting, on a chair. Now we're going to come into a side bend. So move slowly because you don't want to tip over. Just come to where you can still maintain your support in the center and inhale up. Exhale slowly to the other side and inhale up. So this is a side bend, but it's also an abdominal and oblique workout because we have to use those muscles to stabilize the body. Inhale up once more to each side. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale and release. Beautiful, beautiful job. Something a little bit different. I used to take yoga from the Pierce Yoga Center, the first yoga studio in Atlanta, many, many years ago, maybe 30 years ago when I first moved here. Martin Pierce was my teacher. And he would use dowels. They were wooden dowels, very thin. They had actually different, maybe heavier ones and then thinner ones. And we would do a lot of that kind of thing of lifting and using it to come across like this. And I just loved it. It really opens up the shoulders. I don't know if I need to find a dowel like that again. Maybe we'll reinstitute that. Okay, so from here, go ahead and bring yourself into bound angle pose. So I'll move back a little. So bringing soles of feet together, knees apart. And again, if you are starting to collapse and having trouble sitting up tall, then sit up on something. I'm sitting on my bolster. I don't know if you can see that. I'm sitting right up on top of it so that I can let my knees come apart here. Now, if this is too much on your hips, first of all, slide your legs a little further forward. Second, you can use blocks or pillows or a rolled up blanket for a little more support. Maybe you'd like that underneath there. So sitting up nice and tall, exhale and soften in the hips. Let your knees drop a little bit. Inhale to grow tall. And exhale, let go. One more time, finding your height, your tallness. And exhale, let go. And then let's move into a seated cat-cow. Exhale and rock to the back of your tailbone. Let your belly come in, your head come forward. As you inhale, roll the pelvis forward. Open through the belly and chest, reach through the crown. Use your hands, holding onto your knees. Exhale and rock back, draw the belly in. Inhale and roll forward, opening up. Take your time. We're going to move through this for a few breaths. Let this movement of the pelvis initiate the movement of the spine. And the rest of the spine will respond, rolling up through the curves of the spine. A couple more. And then stay with that movement or add some circling by moving your ribs to the back, to the side, to the front, to the side. Reverse if you're circling. And then come back into the center. Now you have the option of sitting up tall, as we did at the beginning of this sequence, or if you have a little more space, you can begin to come forward from the hips, right? So we're keeping a long spine. We're not curling up. We're staying nice and long. Now I'm going to hold on. I can reach to my ankles or even to my feet. Inhale, grow long, reaching through the crown of the head. Exhale, maybe you have a little more space to come forward. I like to rest my elbows down onto my knees. That helps to open up a little bit. And please work at the right place for you today. Long on the inhale, soften on the exhale. 2 more breaths. And then pressing in to the floor, walk yourself up. Use your hands to assist your legs out long, and then take little tiny bounces, maybe windshield wiper, to release the muscles of your legs. We're going to make our way into tabletop for some cat-cow. For those of you who prefer not to come into tabletop, please feel free to sit in your chair or on your cushion and do some more seated cat-cow. For those of you who are comfortable coming into tabletop, I recommend something cushy for your knees. And then find the hand position that works best for your wrists, either hands wide, coming up onto knuckles with your thumbs forward, or coming onto forearms. Wherever you are, take a moment to get nice and tall or long. And then exhale and curl that tailbone under, draw the belly in and up, let the head release. Inhale, lift the tail, release the belly, and raise the crown. Exhale, tucking in, drawing in, opening between the shoulder blades. Inhale, opening the front body. Continue to move through your cat-cow. Being careful not to drop your belly down. We want to move smoothly so we don't put any kind of undue stress on the lower back. And if it gives you any kind of discomfort or pain, in any of these positions, then move in a smaller range of motion. It's not the extent of your movement, it's getting the intention of the movement to open up the spine, open up the hips. And then find your neutral pelvis, long spine. Stay here or try extending your left leg behind you. Try to keep the hips level, right? So don't open up the hip. Press out through your heel. Your knee and toes should be pointing down towards the ground. Stay here or add the reach of the opposite arm. We'll hold for 3, 2, 1, and release. Wiggle, wiggle to shake that out. Find your long spine. Really engage through your lower abdominal muscles. That helps to support the leg and to support your low back. Extending through the right leg, pressing out through that heel. Maybe your toes are down and that feels better in your body, or the leg is lifted, or you've added the opposite reach for 3, 2, 1, and release everything down. We're going to move into child's pose. So keep your toes together, but bring your knees wider apart and begin to sink your hips towards your heels, and then walk your hands forward, releasing the crown of your head to the mat, maybe to stacked hands or fists, or even to the edge of a block or cushion. Take several breaths here, feeling an opening in the low back, a softening in the hips. The spine is still long, right? We're not in a ball. We're still elongated pretty well. If this is too much on your knees, you can always bring your bolster or a rolled blanket onto your calves like this, so that when you sit, you don't have as far to go, I guess. You don't have as much of a bend. That's one hack. And now from here, extend your arms out a little bit longer so that your shoulders are up off the ground. Maybe your head is coming down. And get a nice long stretch in your shoulders, in the front of the chest, in your armpits. Stay here or inhale and come forward, coming into a knee down plank. So long spine, I move my knees in a little bit more, a little closer together. Exhale, press back and get long. Inhale and rock forward, weight over your hands. You can also do this on forearms. Exhale back, 2 more. This weight-bearing exercise, good for bone density. Last time. Exhale and walk your hands back, curl your toes under, and make your way up to standing. I'm going to come through a little forward bend to do that. Take your time making your transition up to standing. And we'll find our Tadasana. Bringing feet about hip distance apart, maybe hands to the top of your hips. Take a moment rocking forward and back, shifting your weight between heels and the balls of the feet until you find a place of balance where you're not rocking forward and gripping your toes, and you're also not way back in your heels. Where you stand on your feet is affected by and will affect where your pelvis is in space, right? If you're a big tucker, you might be rocking forward. If you've got a lot of lordosis, which is that overextended curve, then you might be rocking forward or you might be rocking back. So find neutral pelvis where you're neither tucked nor spilling everything forward, where you feel like you're up and over your legs. Bring your rib cage up and over your hips, your shoulders over your hips and ankles, your ears over your shoulders, hips, and ankles. Inhale and reach up. Bring palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. 2 more. Last one. And release. Step back into your mountain pose, Tadasana. Take a moment to look ahead of you, finding your drishti, your focal point. If you need additional support for balance work, please make sure that you have what you need available. Begin to ground down through both of your feet, sending roots deep into the earth. Getting very still for just a moment. And then gentle, ever so slight shift into the left leg to liberate the right. The leg floats up, turn out at the hip, and then your foot can be at your ankle, calf, or thigh, above or below the knee. Foot makes contact with the leg resists. The body adjusts to find balance. Make sure that breath is flowing, drawing energy up from the ground. Eyes on your focal point. Inhale, maybe hands come to heart center. From there, maybe branches grow. Can you find that buoyancy and openness, flexibility in the upper body while being nice and grounded in the lower body? We'll stay for 3 more breaths. Come in and out as you need to. And after the third exhale, release, hands to heart center. Walk it out if you need to. And come back to your stillness. Pause for a moment to feel that sensation of grounding. Find the mountain in the tree. Send roots deep and shift to the right leg, liberating the left. Turn out and find your foot position. It may be different on this side. One side is usually a little bit easier. And again, come in and out as you need to, finding your balance. Drawing energy up, breath is moving through heart center into the full canopy of your tree, reaching your fingers out, reaching the crown of the head. Maybe your arms are here. Maybe you've got one arm that's going. Maybe you're holding on. Find your version. We'll hold for 2 more breaths. And on your exhale, hands come to heart center. Pause here. Get nice and still again for a moment. Maybe soften your gaze or close your eyes entirely. Making sure you're safe, that you won't fall over. But notice what it's like to find balance from the inner body, working on proprioception, interoception, being able to find our body placement from inside as well as outside, where we are in space. One more breath here, and then release and shake out. And take a quick sip of water And then we're going to work with a chair sequence. Now you are welcome to work with a block between your knees if that's something that is helpful to you. I'm going to turn sideways just so you can see the length of my spine. Take a moment again to find your mountain pose. Inhale and reach up. Exhale, begin to sit forward. The tailbone goes back. Hands come to your knees. See how my spine is long, reaching through the crown of the head. My knees are back over my ankles and I can see my toes. Belly is engaged. Stay here or inhale and lift arms up and out. Holding for 3, 2, 1. Press down to rise up. Pause for a breath. You can always bring your hands to your knees for more support. Or inhale, reach and pull back on your left arm like you're drawing a bow. Try and keep your knees in alignment, right? So that one doesn't pull ahead of the other. Release your bow and draw back on the other side. Release and press down to come up. Whew. One more. You've got one more in you. Again, hands on knees or thighs is always an option. Inhale, sit back in to your chair. Exhale, press down, reach behind you. Inhale up. Exhale back. Inhale up. And this time, press down to rise up. Whew, release. Nice and strengthening, invigorating. So I have one more standing posture, and that is malasana, or the squat. Now, for some of us, squatting down is not in our knees' best interest. For some of us, it's fine. For others, having something underneath your heels will make this more accessible. Just watch first. So I can come down like this. And that may or may not be in your best interest. So the next option is to take a chair and work in the chair. You can sit up at the edge, walking your feet out nice and wide, and then come into a little forward fold, long spine, with your elbows on your knees. So take a moment to find your squat. If you squat down and your heels are coming up, that means you need something under your heels, like I have my bolster. You can also use a rolled up mat or a rolled up blanket. I'm pointing to my blankets, which you can't see. Walk your elbows in between your knees. Maybe hands come to heart center. Take a breath. Reach down with your right hand. Maybe it's to the floor or to your knee. Inhale and reach up with the left, looking towards your fingers. Release and switch sides. And we'll switch one more time. Inhale and exhale. If you have another moment, come back to heart center. And then we're going to make our way back down to the floor from here. So if you want to walk forward, maybe you can do that, or maybe come off your chair. Now we're going to come down onto our bellies into Sphinx pose. So we'll have our elbows underneath us. If you have low back issues, you might want something underneath your low belly, maybe a low pillow or a folded blanket, just to give you a little more support. So take a moment to grab what you need. And then here's where we're headed. So elbows are down, your chest is up off of the ground. Your hips, pelvis, low belly, making contact, extending your legs out if that's comfortable, pressing down through the tops of your feet. Forearms are on the ground about shoulder width apart, hands down. From here, imagine, or maybe you can actually feel like you're drawing your elbows back. Do you see? I don't know if you can see that movement. It's isometric. I'm gripping the sticky mat and then pulling my elbows back gently so that I can draw my heart forward. Now try not to crank your neck up. Look down or look straight ahead, whatever gives you a sensation of elongating your neck like it's attached to your spine. I'm turning my head to look at you, but don't turn your head to look at me. Look down between your hands. Let's take 3 breaths. Now you may stay right here or take your left hand and move it parallel to the short edge of your mat. Bend your right knee and reach back with your right hand to see maybe you can touch your heel, maybe you can grab your foot or even your pants leg. And the idea is to press down through your standing arm and take a little twist. So if you have hold, you can press your foot into your hand and open up on that side, or keep reaching. One more breath. Gently release and come back to Sphinx. Let's rock our hips a little bit from side to side. And then we'll move to the other side, bringing the right hand across. We'll open, bending the left knee, reach back. Maybe you can touch your heel or grab your pants leg. Maybe you can reach your ankle or foot. If you have hold of something, press against your grip, and that helps you to open up in the shoulder, in this part of the chest. Take a breath. And then gently release and come back to Sphinx. You can stay right here, or if it would be okay for your body to come down into crocodile, you can give that a try. In crocodile, my elbows are wide, my hands are stacked, and I'm resting my head. If this is too much pressure on your chest, then come right back up to Sphinx. And let's just take a couple of breaths. And then we'll press up, maybe through tabletop, and come into a seated pose. Now we're going to set up next for a restorative pose called Supta Baddha Konasana, or supported bound angle. This requires some props, so I hope you've got your collection around you. So the first thing that you may use, I'm going to use my bolster, and I'm going to have it the long way, so the short edge is right behind my sacrum. Okay, so I'm just sitting a little cross-legged. I've got this right, push back as far as I can. Okay, I've got this right behind me. I'm going to have my blocks handy, and I forgot to grab my blanket. I'm going to grab a blanket. and have that handy as well. So let me show you what we're doing, and then you can make your way in. I'll even talk you in. So we're going to bring soles of feet together, knees apart. Use your hands to help you walk back, lying over your bolster. You'll know pretty quickly if this is too far away and you need a little more support. If you do, you can take a block or a pillow or a rolled up blanket and place it underneath the back of your bolster to give it a little more height. Now, I know several of you have done this with me in person in class, so you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, then just take your time. The idea is to raise up the bolster at an angle so that you're not going back quite as far. So I've put one of my blocks, but I still need two available. Okay, so sitting up tall, feet together. Let's do this now. Bring your blocks underneath your knees if you need support for your hips and inner thighs. Hands come down at your sides, and again, carefully walk your body back. Now, you are not sitting on your bolster, you're sitting in front of it. So right now, my tailbone is on the ground, on my mat. My low back is being supported by the edge of the bolster. I have my feet together, knees apart, and blocks under my knees. Now, if you feel like your head is uncomfortable, you might want to bring your blanket and put it underneath your neck like a little pillow. Give that a try. Arms should or could be out, elbows down, palms up, arms open. That's one option. Another option is to walk your elbows out and bring your hands to your body, maybe to your belly or your hips. Try and find a place for your arms where you can let go, so you're not holding them up. If we were in class together, I'd be tucking blankets and blocks underneath your arms, all kinds of ways to get nice and comfortable here, but it requires a lot of equipment. So do the best that you can in your home environment. Now, if this position of your legs is really not comfortable, you don't have to stay. You can extend your legs, or you can, just cross them in a regular cross leg position. But if it's comfortable, this is the bound angle part. I'm going to stop talking now for a couple of breaths. Seeing if you can release and let go of anything that you're holding. Allowing all of your parts that are touching the ground to be heavy. To let go into the supports beneath you. With each exhale, let go a little bit more. Let each inhale help you to open up from the inside out. Stay here, if it's comfortable, for about 10 breaths, counting down from 10. And after 10 or so breaths, begin to roll towards one side and then press into your hands and bring yourself back up to sitting. Take your time. These restorative poses are so wonderful, but difficult to do when we don't have all of the props handy. So whenever possible, just have cushions and pillows and blankets and towels, whatever you have handy, to be able to give you just that nice little bits of support. So from here, let's come into a wide-legged seat. So bringing your legs out wide, sitting up nice and tall, maybe on the edge of a bolster or blanket. There are my toes. On your inhales, just find a little bit of height. On your exhales, reach out, maybe flexing your feet, pressing out through your heels. Now stay here, or if you have a little more space, you can begin to come forward with a long spine. So we're hinging at the hip. And we do that to protect our backs. So maybe you come a little bit forward. Maybe you have lots of space and you can come a lot forward. Bring your hands to your sticky mat or your floor beneath you. And the same way that we did in Sphinx, press down through your hands or elbows and draw back, allowing the chest to come a little bit forward and reaching through the crown of the head. So this drawing back helps you to get long. On your exhales, maybe you can tip a little further forward. 2 more breaths. And last one. And carefully walk yourself back up to sit tall. Give your legs an assist. Bring them in a little bit closer. Maybe gentle bounces and a little windshield wiper in and out. And begin to set up for your Shavasana. Now you could possibly go back into your supported bound angle, but that's a lot on the body. So think about that and maybe come into a more supported pose for your Shavasana, possibly with something under your knees, pillow under your head. Take a moment if there's any other pose that is calling out to you before you move into Shavasana, and heed the call, and then make your way into a comfortable position for rest. And as you begin to arrive in your rest pose, letting go of the efforts of the practice, sending gratitude to your body for its strength, its flexibility. Sending gratitude to yourself for showing up for yoga, for taking this time for your own self-care. And then allow the supports beneath you to cradle you so that you can let go and rest. Releasing with each exhale a little bit more, creating a little bit more space with each inhale. Release, relax, and just let go. The root word of pranayama or breath work is prana or life force. What we call a miracle is often simply the presence of a little extra prana. Prana does not differentiate between good and bad. We do. Prana simply is. It infuses the mouse with the ability to run. It infuses the hawk with the ability to fly. It is up to each of us to make proper use of the prana available to us. Most of us have been unconsciously minimizing the amount of prana we channel into our lives because we are afraid of what we might do with all that life force if we had it. This is why surrender to goodness is so important. Once we surrender, we can get on with the business of being magnificent, trusting that we will be guided along the way. As we practice pranayama, we are learning to open up our energy channels. We're saying we are ready to be the light of the world. Begin to deepen your breath, bringing small movements into fingers and toes. Make your way onto one side and pause. And then press into your hands to make your way up to sitting, allowing your attention to stay deeply inward for another moment or two. We'll seal our practice with one chant of Om for the community that we create when we practice together. Bringing hands to heart center, we'll inhale. Om Shanti, peace, peace, peace. Namaste. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me and with each other.